Hello, everyone, and welcome to the opening round of the 2025 Doppler IndyCar Series. A new season, a new venue for BiS Indycar, but a track well known to BiS competition. Last season, 6 different drivers stood atop the podium, but only 3 returned to chase glory once again. Notably absent, defending champion Jonathan Wager, leaving the door wide open for a new contender to rise. With over 30 entries and 9 nations represented, this field is deeper than ever, packed with rookies eager to make their mark and veterans looking to reassert their dominance. The engines are fired, the anticipation is high. This is BiS, we Pit Road Productions, and it's time to go IndyCar racing in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth once again, the one and only Mr. Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardener, with Christian Hill there at the controls. And again, this season it's sponsored by Doppler, a new sponsor. We're going to get into that a little bit more later. As we take a quick look at the schedule, ladies and gentlemen, let's see about whereabouts we're going to head to today. We take a very quick peek there, checking out the wonderful Reese Gardner. Gorgeous man that he is. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting round 1 at Sebring, with round 2 taking us to a street circuit of Long Beach, with round 3 the BiS home track of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, with round 4 taking us to Barber. Round 5 will be a special event. It'll be the Indy 500, with round 6 again back at a street track, ladies and gentlemen. A really good mix up here for Detroit for round 6. Round 7 will take us to Road America, with round 8 a new track in the iRacing service. It's going to be the Grand Prix of Portland. But ladies and gentlemen, I believe Reese has got a little bit more information on this crowd favorite.
Yeah, absolutely, Zippy. Sebring is an incredible circuit, and it's a very historic one for sure. Nestled in the heart of Florida, this historic 3.74-mile circuit has been a proving ground for endurance warriors since 1950. Once a World War II airfield, now it's a battlefield for some of the fastest, fiercest machines in virtual motorsport. Today, BiS's best drivers will test their skill, their stamina, and their machines against one of racing's toughest challenges. 17 turns, mix of high-speed sweepers, tight hairpins, and that famous Ullman straight from turn 16, leading into the bone-rattling final corner Sunset Bend. It's raw, it's relentless, it's Sebring, and today, BiS history is waiting to be written. Let's get into the race details very quickly as well before we get things started here. We've had 80 minutes of practice. We are currently in 15 minutes of open qualifying. We got 2 races tonight of 30 minutes each, with a warm-up of 5 minutes in between them. Push to pass is available with the fixed setup, of course. It's all down to the drivers. You need to stop for fuel in both races. You also have to use both tire compounds in both races, just like in the real-world IndyCar series. You've got those red-walled softer tires and the black-walled hard tires. When do you use them? I mean, it's completely up for interpretation. I'm not a driver. I don't know. I hope the drivers have figured it out.
Oh, absolutely. And certainly, you know what, it does add an extra dynamic of pit strategy. Certainly, you know, you got to think about, you know, are you going to start on the softs? Are you going to start on the alternates? You know, it's a whole other dynamic. And myself, you know, I'm not really too sure which way I would play that race.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way I'd play it either. The issue, of course, is you know, you have to work out how the soft tires are going to fall off, and when the best time is to pit, because remember, you got to think about that fuel tank restriction as well. Do you want to time it so that you can just run the tank out, run those hard tires, and all the way through that first initial stint, and then go for a short stint on soft tires at the end? I think we're going to be seeing drivers go for a couple of different variances here.
Absolutely, and I've definitely seen a lot of new names in here as well. Certainly, as I have a look down the list, I see a couple of regulars, definitely for sure as well. But Mauricio Parada, a new name here, currently resting in 7th place. Kostek Selawish, they're new as well. Scott Bargin, they're new. Shane Larson, Nelson Mason, I recognize, but definitely as I go down as well. Willie Brennan, Ben Colley, you know, Rishbar Jain, you know. Oh, Eric Fenson as well. Ian Pacadella, actually, I've seen, but definitely a lot of new drivers. And at the minute, it looks like we're going to have a 28-car grid on the debut round of the 2025 season.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive grid, actually. Looking at it myself, you know, I'm really happy to see how things are going to turn out here, because we've got people wanting to defend their positions from last season. We've got these new drivers wanting to prove their worth against what has been a very competitive field in past years, and we've also had a few drivers come in from other leagues as well, which have gone on a hiatus running an IndyCar season. So we'll see exactly how things go here. Qualifying is done, and it looks like we're about to get into the grid.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there, Reese. Actually, if we can squeeze it in very quickly, we'll take a very quick look at the race format, ladies and gentlemen, and then we're going to absolutely send it to the grid. We take a quick look here. Did we?
Yeah.
Am I on a brain fart, Reese?
I did that.
Let's just go straight to the grid. I'm multitasking.
Christian, get our faces off the screen right now.
Let's
go to the grid.
This is the modeling section, ladies and gentlemen. Guns out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got my arms. Anyway, let's go through the grids. George Griffiths has qualified on pole position with Andrew Hardman alongside him on the front row. That is a very interesting front row indeed. Aussie Mil Wayne in the Evolve Sim Sports number 14 alongside Shane Larson, who's jumped into fourth. Great qualifying performance there. Caden Goodridge, a new driver for this season, starting alongside Christian Gritzko, who we've seen competing in the AM class in Radical Cup Canada. In seventh place, Mitch Green shares the fourth row with Mauricio Prada. And then we have Eric Fenson starting alongside Kostek Solovic to round out the top 10.
And as we have a look at 11, we've got an Australian driver, Reese. You've got backing, sir. It's Scott Bargin. He's there in 11th alongside Radical Canada employee, I believe, Clay Morris in 12th. Nelson Mason, he's going to be there in 13th alongside league admin and organizer and all-around ballerina, Mr. Mike Broomhead, in 14th. As we have a look at 15th, ladies and gentlemen, one of the youngest and certainly one of the most up-and-coming drivers in the league right now. It's the Sartner Carter alongside Pit Road Productions entry to this season, Richard Swindells. Cedric O'Hyan, the real-life Lima racing machine, he's there in 17th alongside Joey Haynes. And then in 19th, we have a very quick look. It's Willie Brennan alongside Ben Colley.
In 21st place, Harland Goulbourne is going to start alongside Robert Covey, our bearded assassin there. Rishabh Jain is going to start 23rd place along Tyler Scarali with a great 12th row there. Phil Nels from Radical Canada is going to start alongside Matthew Mileman in the Lima Racing number 41. And then our final row of the grid is going to be Tori Pushman and Ariana Pagadala. So, big field, 28 cars already away on the formation lap here at Sebring, and we're going to get a nice tour around this place, Zippy. One thing that Sebring is defined by is the bumps. Sebring is one of the few racetracks around the world that actually tries to keep its bumps there on purpose.
Well, that definitely can. Something I was actually watching a GT4 race earlier, and you can see the sheer flex and bounce of the cars going over that. And the GT4, I'd say, is probably a lot more supple than the IndyCar. Certainly, these things are built for one thing and one thing only, and that is to go fast, ladies and gentlemen. As we see an absolutely beautiful collection of paints there on the grid. But I have a feeling that Ian Pagadala, if my memory serves me right, we may be actually seeing them on Friday nights in the F1200 Sim to Reality series as well. Final round of that happening on Friday. I'm pretty sure I've seen them there as well, but definitely a few familiar names here. And I've got to say, as much as I love Joey Haynes, he's surprisingly far back in 18th place today.
Yeah, indeed. I'm interested to see what Joey Haynes will be able to do all the way from there in 18th spot. It's going to be a difficult start to the race as well, because remember, these guys have taken a long break since the last BiS IndyCar series, and we have a very difficult turn as well to start off this race. Got to manage the rolling start too. I remember the first round of Radical Canada Cup this past season. There was a lot of chaos on the race start, especially in the midfield, so we need to make sure that the start is clean. These cars are incredibly fragile, but they can certainly take a beating in the vertical sense.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm actually having a look at the tyre compound choice, and if I understand this correctly, George Griffith has gone for the soft tyre. Second and third have gone for the alternates, and then you got another soft tyre in fourth, and then 3 sets of alternates. So honestly, as I look down the grid, there's not really any particular rhyme or reason there very inconsistent between the two of them. Well, between the two sets of choice, and definitely going to be seeing exactly how it's going to work out. I don't know which way I'd play this. Honestly, at Sebring, I think I would want as much grip as I possibly can right at the start and try and capitalize on any positions possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's we honestly don't know how the strategy is going to work out. 110 Fahrenheit track out there, so gently does it. There's my first one of the season on these initial tires. We should the drivers will be seeing how these tires evolve over the first stint. They're going to be learning a bit after a break from these cars about how they work and how long they last, the heat cycling, etc. Let's hope that they've all worked it out okay as they come in to the final corner to start off this race. It's going to be George Griffiths versus Andrew Hardman on the front row. I'm so looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to this for ages. The green flag flies and the BiS Indycar Series is go. Great start from George Griffiths. Hardman already under attack from Aussie Milwayne coming into turn one. Milwayne up to second. Now they got to go 2 by 2. They got to give each other space. Let's see if anyone comes a cropper across the gravel trap. Almost 3 wide there. Milwayne gets spun 3 wide for second, and we've had chaos erupt at turn 3.
And you see Christian Gritzko there, despite the beautiful paint job, ladies and gentlemen, we were admiring it earlier, absolutely taken out at the start, as is Andrew Hardman. He's down 26th position. See the Britannia iSports driver there, and he's actually beached on the curb, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
He appears to be dragging it along the ground, ladies and gentlemen, and at this point he's going to have to tow, as I can hear more chaos, ladies and gentlemen. Mitch Green, absolute pandemonium. The event list is lit up like a timing tower, well, not like a timing tower, like a Christmas tree at the minute. And I believe Nelson Mason's been involved as well. He's just got a meatball flag. Eric Benson's involved. Bill Nelson's involved. Absolute chaos there. And you can see the wing barely hanging to the back of the 76 car.
Oh dear, this has been a terrible, terrible start, and the chaos there for second place was started with that 3 wide into turn 3. Shane Larson tried to get up the inside of both Hardman and Milwayne, ultimately tapped Milwayne around, and he got into Hardman, and that's what sent Hardman onto the curb. So we'll see here how Nelson Mason can hold on to positions. You obviously can't get a good lap around Sebring with half a front wing at your disposal.
I definitely thinking the car's going to be a little bit unbalanced, but right now they're able to hold on to second place. But for how long? George Griffiths is currently opening up a little bit of a gap there as we see a move heading down into turn 1. It is between Aussie Milwayne. No, that can't be right, Aussie Milwayne. No, there is Aussie Milwayne. I thought he was out of it, but no, ladies and gentlemen, he's still very much in it, going against one of the new guys here, Mauricio Parada, and currently resting about 4/10 of a second between themselves. But honestly, Aussie Milwayne's still in it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. Aussie Milwayne surviving the worst of that lap 1 drama. Mauricio Parada holding on to third nicely, though, and going for second spot. Actually, I was on replay for a second there. He's already made the move. That's the first round of the season, Zippy. We have a few kinks to iron out. It's been a little bit for us. Regardless, good job for Mauricio Parada there to get into third place. But Milwayne has to try and get things up to speed here. Remember, he is on the primary tyres, but Parada's decided to start on the alternates. So he's going to be fast for the first few laps of the race, and then the pace is going to completely drop off there.
Well, certainly some very interesting techniques as well, but you can see actually the hard charger right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely incredible. The number 19 car of Ian Pagadala Reese. Just to put it into context, we have a 28 car grid, and they are up 20 positions. Ladies and gentlemen, what an absolutely phenomenal drive by the number 19 of Ian Pagadala. Absolutely incredible work so far.
Yeah, incredible work indeed. This is absolutely crazy, the run that he has had up through the field. He's taken advantage of all the issues for drivers in the midfield. There's been plenty of spins, plenty of checkups, and Pagadala has found his way through all of them, and he's on the soft tyres to boot, so he has a lot of pace and will be taking advantage of that for the next couple of laps before the soft tyres inevitably fall off and he has to settle into a rhythm. Right now, he's trying to chase down Willie Brennan. Former Supreme Court Justice, in fact, is Willie Brennan. I remember from commentating on him at the Precision Racing League, and he won the final race of the PRL IndyCar Series at Pocono. So he certainly got pace in these IndyCars, able to hold on to a solid top 7 position. A lot of history there. Meanwhile, looks like Caden Goodridge is falling down the order. He was in 11th place, but he's fallen down to 15th. I think he might have had an issue somewhere.
Well, there's that, and there's also, yep, there you go, also missing the left front half of their wing, but I believe it doesn't happen to Phil Nels as well. I understand he's got a meatball flag as well, so certainly, actually no, he's got a black flag, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a meatball, it's a black flag, so I'm very curious exactly what's gone on there. Definitely an incident of some sort. We'll have to check the replay, but right now battles happening throughout the field, and it looks like Pagadala's sizing up Willie Brennan. It is a case of the High Court judge, can they hold on to it? It's a different tyre compound between them, and Ian Pagadala absolutely using it as much as they possibly can as they're heading down towards sunset and blitzing by. I'm going to see the difference in corner speed now as they go around that final turn. Absolutely insanely amount more grip there in the softer tyre.
Yeah, for sure. Able to get the power down nicely coming out of Sunset Bend. Brennan may have to try and stick in the slipstream here and ride Ariane's coattails, as it were. The fastest lap thus far has been set by George Griffiths in the lead, and looks like Shane Larson has had a big problem from out of second spot. He too has lost half of his front wing, and it looks like that was contact with Phil Nels, who had just come out of the pits trying to negotiate a lapped car. Some miscommunications between them, and that has allowed Parada and Milwain onto the podium.
Yeah, I could just see now the event log did update, and it just showed that he cleared a meatball flag, came out the pits, and yeah, then that got straight into another incident. So definitely something for the race stewards to review after the race, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly if you're a lapped car, don't get me wrong, not sure which rules do apply fully in BiS, but generally in a league you want to have a little bit more sportsmanship and certainly, you know, be accommodating to your fellow racers. And certainly, you know what, getting an incident with one of the lead cars straight after the pits, not really the best behaviours.
No, certainly not. Got to be careful for that. Well, there's going to be quite a bit to review from this first round, I think, because we've had multiple cars in these opening laps going for the pits for tyre changes, for repairs as well. We've had very early stops from Kostek Solivier, who has managed to set the fastest lap in the midst of that, as we should probably check out the 230 of Asad Nikadambev. He's under pressure from Clay Morris here, coming into turn 1, trying his best to hold on to 4th place. The view from young Assad's cockpit, and this is the view from the back. Clay Morris is rounding him up here. Took 4/10 out of him on the last lap, and they're not too far behind Aussie Milwain either. Looks like Milwain's lost a bit of time to Parada.
Well, certainly that's a little bit of tyre compounds coming into play. Parada being on the softer tyre, Milwain being on the primaries. And that, I think, is actually the opposite of what's happening to Nikadambev. Nikadambev does have the tyre advantage, at least for this lap right now, but Milwain is still putting in absolutely incredible pace. Looking at their best laps, there is about 1/100th of a second between them, ladies and gentlemen. And on the last lap, as I have a look now, when Nikadambev was actually quicker, but it looks like Morris was actually quicker by 4/10 of a second, despite being on that harder compound.
Yeah, well, I mean, being on the softs is one thing, but being able to make use of them is entirely another. So that's one of the things you got to worry about when you're racing in an IndyCar, trying to maintain that average pace. These cars are quite hard to drive. They don't have power steering. They have V6 turbo engines that produce a crazy amount of power, and they're stiff open wheelers with big wings. So you're managing a lot over the course of a race here. Ariane Pagadala, meanwhile, has just made up another position. He's up to 6th place. He just got by Shane Larson.
Absolutely incredible drive there from the number 19 of Iron Pagadala, but we're going to stay with this battle right now because, ladies and gentlemen, one more car has entered the mix, and it is the third place of Aussie Milwane. You can see him just at the bottom left of your screen very briefly there. He's going to be leading this freeway pack, and Nakada in the middle, he does have that softer tyre, so if he's going to make the most out of it, he needs to get that pass done quickly, efficiently, and cleanly if he wants a shot at the podium.
Indeed. I'm just reviewing Milwane's previous couple of laps. He set a 1:43.2 on lap 4, and so I'm keeping an eye on the lap here, and it doesn't look like he's made any big mistakes. He's just completely lost pace, potentially electing not to use push to pass. So we'll see if he can hold on to this pace, because Morris and Nakada, they are working hard to try and get past him. And don't forget, Nakada is on the softs himself, so he could be running out of pace very shortly.
Absolutely, and certainly another interesting dynamic about these Indy cars, and certainly it's almost like it's not like a DRS, but I think it's powered actually by an electric motor, if I understand correctly. Reese, by all means, pull a shovel out if you need to, but
in the real world.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, don't get me wrong, that would be quite the experience. All of a sudden, off you go. But certainly it does add a little bit of an extra dynamic as well. So you've got the tyres to think about, you've got the aero, and then you've also got the magic go-go juice button, in which case that is very much a potent thing. But ladies and gentlemen, it is not unlimited. They do only have so much of that they can use on hand. And right now, from the information I can see, it's pretty evenly balanced between Milwane, Nakada, and Clay Morris. Nakada used the most so far, but really not by a heavy increment. So certainly we're going to see how this develops out and just how badly Nakada wants to get by and take over that third spot.
Yeah, Nakada is an aggressive passer. I've had personal experience racing against him at Bathurst in Formula 1600s, and it was very tough to keep him behind me. He loves to go for those moves when needed. He's a go-karter in the real world, and he's certainly got a great amount of pace. Will he be able to find his way past Aussie Milwane coming up to the Cunningham corner here, just through the Fangio chicane? And that is the lap time comparison there. Nakada only a few thousandths faster than Clay Morris on the previous lap. So he's got, he might be running out of that pace, potentially. But Morris doesn't seem to be making too much of an impression on him on this lap. Remember, the drivers will have to pit for fuel at some point in both races, and they have to use both tyre compounds. So a pit stop is basically mandatory in these events. So keep an eye out. When will they elect to do it? We have 18 minutes remaining in the 30-minute window we have for this race, and we're approaching the halfway point on laps. So now's about the time that I think you'd have to start wanting to go in the pits.
Well, certainly not.
Speaking of, Nakada in.
Good call there. Good call from Southpaw Racer, ladies and gentlemen. Nakada brings it in. The first person to pit intentionally, we'll phrase it like that. And it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out. Certainly, it's going to be an interesting race to follow. The pit strategy certainly mixed up as we see a car in the pits that was, lack of better words, mullet, ladies and gentlemen. It's fair to say it's brown bread. You see Nakada, he's going to switch out them tyres onto the primary, so he's going to be a little bit slower on pace. Going to have to get a little bit of heat fired up in those tyres. We're going to see how it works out for him in the long game.
Yeah, in a lap or two, we'll see how he's going on that. But for now, back to Tyler Scarali and Michael Broomhead, our race administrator here. Scarali and Broomhead both making their way from outside the top 10. In fact, Scarali made his way from outside the top 20. So he's got an excellent run going at the moment. And both driving for Britannia iSports, now known as Doppler Britannia iSports, reflecting our new title sponsor of the BiS Indycar Championship. So I want to try and make sure that they get to the finish cleanly here. Rule number 1 of sim racing, don't hit your teammate. It's also rules 2, 3, 4, 5, etc.
Well, I think somebody should have told that to, I think it was back when it was Force India is when I'm probably thinking of, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly Esteban Ocon is in a car, definitely a concern to be had. But as I have a look, I see there was another meatball flag issued to Cedric O'Hyan just very shortly ago, and he ended up clearing that in the pits, ladies and gentlemen. And Caden Goodrich, he's towed back in the pits as well. Doesn't appear to be moving. Both himself and Tori Pushman currently with a meatball flag. Bill Nels, I do believe, is out on the move right now, but definitely got in a few incidents today. But right now, we've actually got a battle back for 21st place, ladies and gentlemen. Between one of the Lima Racing drivers and oh dear, Matthew Mailman missing a right front wing there. And oh dear, I'm so sorry. A little bit of commentator's curse, perhaps, but I've got to say, the Lima Racing paint scheme, absolutely gorgeous from the guy who lost British Racing Green. And then not only that, you really got to see Cedric O'Hien's real life radical SR3. It is nothing short of perfection.
Our leaders, meanwhile, have come into the pit lane. George Griffiths has done the... Oh, no! Nakad Bev! Oh, dear. Well, he keeps it out of the wall. Well recovered, at least. But that's the danger of these cold, hard tyres. Remember, IndyCar doesn't use tyre warmers. So you get out on track on these primary compounds, and they will take a while to get up to temperature. Nakad Bevan looked like maybe suffered a bit of understeer through the first corner and caught the gravel on the exit. So need to be careful of that. So he's going to be scrubbing those fronts and making sure that they get up to temp very quickly. He's lost some crucial time there in the battle for the podium. Might fall outside of the top 5 thanks to that mistake, but it's still got plenty of this race left to go. Oh no, I've just noticed Mauricio Parada has towed. Parada was working his race very well. He was running in 4th at the time, but he's made a big mistake. It looks like another driver that's unfortunately made contact with Phil Nels.
Okay, so that definitely sounds like the race stewards are indeed going to be busy. Let's get a quick replay if we can, a little subtle cue to the director there, see exactly what happened. Certainly, definitely an interesting incident indeed. I understand Reese has
watch
seen
this.
So, go ahead, Reese, talk us through it.
Yeah, so as a lapped car, you need to be predictable, and Nels changing lines in the braking zone there to try and let Parada by. Of course, Mauricio did nothing wrong there. I think, you know, he wanted to go for the racing line, or maybe to the inside. You can see he wanted to try and go for the inside there versus Nels, but then the lapped car changes lines right in front of him. That is not what you want to see, and unfortunately, it's taken Parada out of the race.
That's definitely not what you want to see at all. Don't get me wrong, I understand how that one could have happened, but certainly, you know, it's a learning opportunity, perhaps, certainly, and I do very much sympathise there for the new driver that's joined us, Mauricio Parada. Definitely not how they wanted their debut round to go, but right now we've got a battle going on, ladies and gentlemen, between one of the seasoned guys, not just in age, but in BiS territory as well. It's between Robert Kobe taking on a newcomer, Eric Fenson.
Eric Fenson is a driver that I'm certainly familiar with. He began in the Suit Speed Sports Car Series down here in Australia, so he's got a lot of experience both in IndyCar and in sports cars. Raced in an IndyCar series down under as well. He's got a great pace. He can hold on to things very nicely, and he seems to be a fan of these North American time zone events, much like yours truly. Well, Robert Covey, on the other hand, he has been basically a BiS veteran from the very start. He's raced with us loads over the course of the last few years, and looking to try and break further into the top 20, chasing Fenson down for the time being, and keeping an eye on the lap times here. Looks like Fenson getting past Covey on this lap, so Covey going deep into the hairpin. As we check a little bit further up, this is Mitch Green, who's just found his way past Shane Larson. Remember, these drivers started 7th and 4th, respectively. So they've got a lot of recovery to make.
Certainly, we're definitely seeing some interesting movement in the standings. And actually, Ian Pagadala, I did see get as high as 23rd place and currently they moved 23 places, and currently they're shown as 18. So I do have I will double check. I believe they've been through pit road. Yes, they have. Actually, quite a slow time in the box as well, 8.7 seconds. Joint highest actually Robert Kobe with an 8.8 for scheduled pit stops. So certainly some interesting technique going on there, but certainly had an incredible drive so far, being able to keep it really clean. Currently resting in P10, up 18 positions from the start. And as I have a look ahead, actually, the only driver in the top 10, actually we'll say top 8, ladies and gentlemen, who has pit is George Griffiths right now with a 7.9. So that means Milwane, Morris, Brennan, Haynes even, Broomhead, Ritzko, and Colley, they are all yet to pit.
Well, Milwane has come in, so has Morris. They're in the pits right now, so George Griffiths is going to sweep through to take back the effective race lead here. Willie Brennan has just come in as well as Joey Haynes, so the field is being cleansed, and they've pushed those tyres as far as they can possibly go. Morris and Milwane going to swap to the soft tyres, Haynes and Brennan as well, which is what you have to do. They're followed into the pits by Broomhead, Gritzko and Ben Colley as well. So now is the time, if you want to get to the end, to pit. 10 minutes on the clock, 7 laps on the ticker.
But as I have a look, I believe they're going to be the last people to pit. I just see Scott Bargin. He's going down pit lane, as is Mitch Green. So that is literally the whole field now have made that pit stop with 6 laps left to go, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, George Griffiths is out in the front. He's got about a 9-second gap to Clay Morris, but Aussie Milwane about 1.2 seconds back. Those two gentlemen there, Clay Morris and Milwane, are showing to be both on the alternate tyre, on the primary tyre, ladies and gentlemen. But definitely, there's going to be no advantage between the two of them actually having that more harder compound. But the threat's going to be from behind of Nikalenbev, Agadala. They're both in 4th and 5th, and I do wonder, is there going to be enough time left in this race for these two gentlemen to place down and make a shot at the podium?
Yeah, I got a wonder too, as the field is completely cleansed now. Everyone has come in for a pit stop. So now we fall back into the rhythm and see who has the best placing. So starting on the soft tyres was Nakata Bev and Ariane Pagadala. Pagadala making, again, that magnificent run up through the field. But he and Nakata Bev just switching to the harder compound tyres. So they're going to be losing a bit of pace here, and it isn't too far back to Willie Brennan and Joey Haynes. Oh, okay.
Oh, that is a battle between Nelson Mason, Tyler Scarelli, and I believe that's Mike Broomhead getting involved as well. Sorry, Reese, as you can see these guys heading around sunset, as it was, well, Broomhead's managed to take a position away as Nelson has gone back into the pits, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I believe they got caught up in an incident earlier as they're coming back in, so that's pushing them back down through the order. But now the teammates are indeed back together with the Doppler Britannia iSports team currently resting in 9th and 10th position. Actually, Tyler Scarelli up an incredible 15 spots, but Ian Pagadala, he's moved back up to 5th place, gentlemen. 23 spots gained. Absolutely incredible drive.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff from Ariane Pagadala. His first lap must have been magnificent. You know, we were so focused on all the crashes and all the drama of the first lap, we completely missed him making his huge moves up through the field. Well, regardless, only 5 laps to go when they cross the line next. It's still to be decided here between Broomhead and Scarelli for the last position in the top 10. We can't forget also that the second race here tonight has a inverted top 15. Currently in 15th place is Robert Covey, so if he finishes there, he is going to have pole position for race 2.
Well, that definitely would be a very beneficial spot to be in, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Michael Broomhead not.
Oh, Milwane! I'm sorry to call your attention away, but Aussie Milwane was upside down on the straight. Oh dear, he's towed back to the pits. It looks like he and Matthew Mileman had 2 comings together. So Mileman made contact with the rear of Aussie Milwane coming into the Gendebien Le Mans complex. and that took Milwane's wing off. And then, the second part of this incident, probably not great. Yeah.
Oh. I think we need to go back to the start for that. Let's see what happened when Milwane still has a wing. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, it's still intact there. Coming in a little bit hard, Milwane, lack of better words, mounts the guy. And Milwane along for the ride at that point. That's pretty much it. His race is going to be very much not how it was going. He was leading the race, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, actually, no, he wasn't leading. George Griffiths was leading. He was out in second, I believe. And definitely not what he had in mind. He gets back on the road, and I got to be honest, that looked intentional.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could make the argument that he lost the rear wing and so had no grip on the rear, but yeah, maybe a bit of red mist there from Aussie Milwane. Let's leave it at that. Yeah, okay. That's not ideal, not what you want to see. And we can't forget as well that Matthew Mahlman was a lap down at the time, actually 2 laps down, and I think lapped cars have been a big issue here today. We've seen those couple of incidents with Phil Nels to start things off, but regardless, there is still a race going on, and Ariane Pagadala just passing outside Nikardambev into the final corner there, and he's on the podium.
Well, I've got to say, I've been really impressed with Ariane Pagadala today. I'm a man who loves seeing attrition in a race, and certainly not only that, he's had incredible pace as well. But Nikardambev, we know, is definitely no pushover, definitely a little bit spicy at times. I'm hoping the young driver can keep things clean. Certainly very fast machines, and I'm not going to say, that Assad can't handle it, but we've seen him in a Radical. He's very capable, and I honestly believe, he's got the talent. You can see there working out. Look at the feedback. Bless him, he's probably rocking more feedback than I am, and he's absolutely wheeling that car. Ian Pagadala covering the inside line as they go down towards the hairpin. Can Assad and Nikardambev get an over-under? Absolutely huge amount of steering input, really forcing the nose round there, but Ian Pagadala currently in P3.
Yeah, and Assad has been spamming the bush to pass there, desperate, excuse me, to try and get back past him there. Nelson Mason getting the fastest lap there, down in 16th place on new soft tyres. For now, it looks like the battle might be over potentially for third, but that battling between Pagadala and Nikardambev has brought Willie Brennan into the mix, and we can't forget Joey Haynes either. He's not too far behind that battle. He is the black car in the background. So 3 laps to go when they cross the line next. Clock is ticking.
Well, certainly, Willie Brennan's kind of been quietly sneaking up there. He's also up 14 spots. Joey Haynes, I admit, I gave him a little bit of a hard time at the start. I do wonder if it was tactical, though, because right now he's in position 6 as car 6 and up 12 positions, ladies and gentlemen. Can he capitalize on that anymore? He was about 1.7 seconds back from Willie Brennan. That gap down to about 1.2, 1.3. It's varying a little bit. Actually, he's just dropped back a little bit again. Actually, he's dropped back very heavily. That gap almost 3 seconds now. What's going on with Joey Haynes?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Joey Haynes there. He's had a great run up through the field, it has to be said. He started 18th, remember. He is on the soft tyres, and he's put 4 laps on those at the moment. It can be very easy to overheat them. So let's hope that he still has the pace there, as it looks like he's just gotten past Brennan. Seems Willie had a problem coming out of turn 5, a little loss of traction and a half spin. So that has decided that position. Joey Haynes now up into 5th spot. Here's what happened to Brennan. Turns in for turn 5, little offline, and then whoop, just a little bit of wheel spin coming out of the corner.
Yeah, definitely these Indy cars are very potent power to the rear end, despite a huge set of meats on the back of them. Certainly, you can't just smash the throttle. As you see here, Nikardambev absolutely shoulder barging his way through cleanly, I admit, past Ian Pagadala. And I've got to say, this is where we've got to make sure that the marble-style car of Pagadala, just, low risk, high reward, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, he's had an incredible drive Nikanobev's up 12 spots, Clay Morris up 10, Arjan Pagadala up 24 spots. I honestly think that may be a record here for the IndyCar, if not even for BIS. Certainly not a stat that I've got at hand, but absolutely incredible drive. But Pagadala is fighting back, looking to make it 25. He's going to be on the inside of Sunset, don't get me wrong, known as a very, very bumpy corner, that concrete surface. And is Nikanobev going to answer back? You see Pagadala absolutely parking it in front of him, and they're going to be going side by side across the start finish with just 2 laps to go.
Oh, on the outside into turn 1. Yeah, Nikanobev's doing the wise thing and giving up the place into the corner, but a little bit of contact outside as he tried to cut underneath. This is well defended here from Arjan Pagadala. And here's a stat for you, Zippy. The only driver in the field to still occupy the same position they started is our leader, George Griffiths. Everyone else in the top 6 started outside the top 10. Arjan Pagadala starting outside the top 20. This has been a crazy race and a crazy way to start the season. And it's still not entirely over. 1.5 laps remaining.
Well, certainly Sebring and BiS seems to make for some very interesting combinations, ladies and gentlemen, but this is the hottest battle we have happening on track right now. Looking to try and sneak one up on the inside. I do suspect he may got a little bit of a clipping there on the left front wing. Thankfully, not enough to have any damage on the car. Maybe a little bit of a nudge. As you see there, he's applying all of the pressure there to the back of Pagadala. He got away with the wrist crossing board, and he's giving it a little bit of a shuffle. Now he's going to be there. Can he get the move done? As he's going to have to go the long way around, ladies and gentlemen. They'll put him on the inside for the next turn, and Pagadala very quick to fight back.
This has been good, hard racing between these two. It's exactly what you want to see. They have been pushing it, they've been leaning on each other a little, but they've kept it clean. They haven't taken each other out. It's fantastic stuff. Just a supreme display of talent between 2 fantastic drivers. The final lap has begun, though. George Griffiths out in the lead by nearly 5 seconds over Clay Morris. It's been an incredible drive here from George. He just put it on pole and did not look back. We'll be keeping an eye on the times as well. For drivers outside the top 5. It looks like Willie Brennan has lost another spot to Shane Larson, who gets into the top 6. And, well, the teammates changing spots there. Larson, of course, with a lot of pace, started in 4th and has been on a recovery drive for practically the whole race thus far. So Willie Brennan will try his best to hold on and get a double top 7 for the team. But we're about halfway around that final lap now, and Griffiths approaching the final sequences of corners. The battle's still going on between Arjan Pagadala and Asad Nikanobov. Let's see if Asad will be able to pull a move here. It's going to be the exit from Tower Turn that really defines this. Into the apex they come. Can Nikanobov carry the speed that he needs? He's been really good on power out of these corners. Looks like he'll have to wait for the Ullman straight, potentially use his last bit of push to pass. But Griffiths coming through Sunset Bend is going to be your first race winner of the BiS IndyCar Series season presented by Doppler for 2025. Magnificent drive to the lead. Clay Morris going to get second. Arjan Pagadala and Asad Nikanobov still close here, and Pagadala's trying to break the draft, but Nikanobov clearly on push to pass. Oh, Pagadala's wide. Nikanobov not able to keep up the speed through the corner, so that's going to be 3rd place decided for Arjan Pagadala from 28th.
I've got to say, that was definitely the best battle we saw from the entire race, but it looks like we've got another one going on right now. It's Tylen Scarelli versus Christian Grisco. This is a battle for 9th place, gentlemen. We saw Grisco get involved in an incident earlier as Willie Brennan says something's happening there with Mike Broomhead as well, I believe. But right now, absolutely incredible stuff there, incredible battle. And, wow, what's happening, Reese?
I think Brennan might have run out of fuel. He was way off pace coming out of the final corner, and Broomhead just drove by him. So Willie Brennan not having the best end to the race there, but still finishing in the top 10 after starting 19th. That is nothing to sneeze at. And we have our last few drivers then crossing the line here. Yeah, Willie Brennan was practically coasting across the start-finish line and had to secure 8th spot there. But it's time for those results, Zippy. Man, what a start to the season. We've had controversy, we've had drama, we've had good racing, and we've had a great drive from George Griffiths, 5 seconds ahead of Clay Morrison. Ariane Pagadala rounding out the podium. Assad Nakadenbev finishing 4th, and Joey Haynes rounding out your top 5. Shane Larson recovering to 6th spot, with Michael Broomhead and Willie Brennan 7th and 8th. The top 10 rounded out by Christian Gritzko and Tyler Scaralli. Scaralli starting 24th. Very impressive.
Absolutely incredible drive there. As we have a look at 11th, it was Kostek Solowaj. He's there in 11th alongside Ben Colley in 12th. Scott Barchin took 13th with Mitch Green in 14th. Nelson Mason had incredible pace, but I think got caught up in a few instances there in 15th with Robert Covey, the old BIS buzzer. He's there in 16th with Cedric O'Hyan 17th. Richard Swindell, can really see what happened to him there in 18th with Eric Fenton in 19th and Richard Jane in 20th.
In 21st place, it was Harlan Goulbourne, 2 laps down, and then we move on to the drivers who really had trouble in this one. Ozzy Milwane, Andrew Hardman, Matthew Malman all had rough races. Mauricio Parada, unfortunately, an chance encounter with a lapped car there, taking him out of the race. Phil Nellis 9 laps down in 26th. Caden Goodridge and Tory Pushman got mechanical black flags in the opening laps and were not able to make it back out. So it's really unfortunate indeed. But, well, we've got a little bit of time in between races here. The top 15 have inverted, and it's now time to thank our sponsor, our title sponsor for this new season of the BiS IndyCar Series, Doppler. Developers, stop storing API keys and credentials in plain text. Doppler is the ultimate secrets manager, built to keep your environment variables safe, organized, and always in sync across every team and every environment. With Doppler, you can manage secrets effortlessly, sync across local, staging, and production, eliminate ENV file chaos, and integrate seamlessly with AWS, Vercel, GitHub, and more. Join thousands of teams securing their workflows with Doppler. Start for free at Doppler.com today. Doppler, the secret ops platform developers trust. And if you weren't able to understand some of those words, Doppler is basically a professional manager for proprietary software information. So if you run a software company and you need to protect your proprietary secrets, definitely go for Doppler. Thanks very much for coming on board to sponsor the new season of the BiS Indycar Championship. Well, Zippy, it looks like this is going to be a interesting second race for sure. The top 15 being inverted. I did mention that we would likely have our friend Robert Covey starting on pole position, but he was passed for 15th place by Nelson Mason, who's grabbed himself pole position for race 2. So our top 3 for the second race will be Mason, Mitch Green, and Scott Barton. So, goodness me, it's going to be chaotic with our top drivers finding their way back up from basically the midfield here.
Absolutely, and certainly we saw some incredible pace from from a lot of the drivers, but definitely a little bit unfortunate for some. But what I do want to do, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if he is currently here. The driver actually representing Pit Road Productions today, Mr. Richard Swindells. Didn't really get to see too much of you, Richard. What's it like out there today at Sebring? The lights are on and nobody is home. I believe the older man may have indeed gone to relieve himself between races. He's literally off his rig. Good intentions, bad execution. He's doing a pit stop, ladies and gentlemen, and not one that we could show on this broadcast. But I mean, use your imagination. I'm pretty sure you get the gist of exactly what's going on.
Yes. Well, hopefully Richard is able to return very shortly, because we only have 1 minute and 10 seconds in warm-up and a little bit left to go. Basically, Zippy, this is going to be a repeat of race 1 in terms of strategy. You're not going to be able to make it to the end on fuel, and you will have to use both tyre compounds. So throw the top 15 invert into the mix. I wonder how many drivers are going to be starting on the softs here to try and fight their way up through the field and get themselves in a good position where they can make use of the long-run benefit of those harder compounds.
Certainly, not only that, with the longer race as well, you've got to think about managing the tyres, not just switching the compounds. Certainly, you know what? I find it incredibly challenging. Like, I did a race the other day and I literally had to fuel save for the majority of it, and it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a buzzkill, like what do you do? But it just add an extra dynamic. Obviously, you can drive the absolute wheels off the car, get incredible pace, but for how long, ladies and gentlemen? And it adds a whole other strategy. Certainly as well, you have to think about the fuel, you have to think about the tires, but as we see here, Nelson Mason setting setting the fastest lap here in warm-up, and I have seen incredible pace from the 49 car. I do think that inverted top 15, top 10 grid is going to be an absolute gift for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge gift, and he might be able to find his way into a good position from here. Well, looks like warm-up is over, and it's time once again for the grid, but this time it's a little bit mixed up. Thanks to the invert, it is Nelson Mason who starts on pole alongside the number 7 of Mitch Green. Scott Barton, only Australian in the field, is going to start out of 3rd spot alongside Ben Colley in the 705. And Kostek Solovic is going to start in 5th place alongside Tyler Scaralli. Row number 4, Christian Gritzko and Willie Brennan. Brennan, the only driver to stay in the same position through the invert. And the top 10 will be rounded out by Michael Broomhead and Shane Larson.
As we have a look at P11, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Joey Haynes alongside Assad Nakanobev. Certainly these two gentlemen have indeed tangled before. And we have a look at 13th is Ian Pagadala, the hard charger from race 1. 25 positions, ladies and gentlemen, alongside that beautifully painted the 48 car of Clay Morris. As we have a look at 15th, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be George Griffiths, looking a little bit seasoned there for a 17-year-old, alongside Robert Kobe, who is genuinely a little bit older, in 16th, with Cedric O'Hyan in 17th. The Pit Road Productions entry, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Swindell's there in 18th, alongside, well, a little bit further back even, is Eric Benson, the Australian driver, in 19th, with Richard Jane in 20th.
Yeah, my apologies. I forgot about Eric Fenson. 2 Aussies in the field tonight. Harlan Goulbourne and Ozzy Milwane will be your 11th row of the grid. Andrew Hardman, he started 2nd for race 1, but he'll have to start outside the top 20 for this, alongside Matthew Mileman, with Mauricio Parada starting in 25th place alongside Phil Nels. And then Caden Goodridge it has taken to the start of race 2, as has Tory Pushman. They'll be hoping for some redemption from race 1. It did not go their way. Hopefully race 2 is a little better for them.
Oh, absolutely, Christian. Certainly, it's definitely going to be one of those where, honestly, at this point, I think I would want to be a little bit further back. I'm sorry, Reese. Although, that's probably going to be the worst thing I've ever called you.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Oh, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, Reese just feels like he's just touched the exhaust of that IndyCar, and it's fair to say that the thing had been running for at least 20 minutes. What a burn. But you can see, honestly, in this race, I think I would honestly value being at the back of the grid a little bit more, certainly after race 1 being that potent, that spicy, and definitely being a little bit of a collateral damage throughout the grid. I think I would want to be starting at the back, just try and play the field out and use this as a learning exercise, capitalize on the low risk, high reward. Don't get me wrong, these drivers have put in some practice, they put in some laps, but they haven't necessarily raced with each other on the IndyCar for about a year now, so certainly a new set of challenges among the field.
Yeah, there's been subtle changes to the car, there's been changes to iRacing in general. You have to do a hard reset on quite a few things when you've been out of practice in a car for a while. So the drivers will be thinking about that. Around the formation lap we go, and the pressure will be on for Mason to get this result. But don't forget, far and away the quickest driver in the field was George Griffiths. A 140.4 was his time to set pole position for race 1. Hardman not too far behind him. The times were actually quite close in qualifying, but the drivers who are starting on the front row here were only able to set 141s in qualifying, a second off. So that tells you the pace difference that we're going to be dealing with here at the start of race 2. There's going to be a few crushes coming into the corners here. Can the drivers keep it clean?
Well, you've got to wonder for sure, and certainly it's definitely an interesting mix-up in the tyre choice as well. As we look at the start, in the top 12 even, the top 11, ladies and gentlemen, all of them are on the primary tyre, the slower tyre, except for the 705 of Ben Colley. So he's currently resting in 4th place, so in theory he should be able to get a pretty good launch, but the majority of the field, I'd say a solid 2/3, maybe 65%, ladies and gentlemen, I guess 2/3 would be 66%, great zippy math there for you, are starting on that harder tyre. So we're going to have to see how that shapes up. A few of them are able to make the most of that softer tyre. Actually, George Griffiths as well, starting on the softer tyre.
All right, let's see how far up he can get. It's time for green flag, though. Nelson Mason versus Mitch Green at the front of the field, and it's been a little bit of a slow start for the second row already. Tyler Scarali going at the inside, making 5 wide there. Then the back end of the top 10, that's crazy. How did they manage to get into turn 1 cleanly from there? Oh, regardless, we'll find ourselves to turn 3 where the track really narrows up and it's back into 2x2, but they're giving each other space for the time being. At the moment, it is Nelson Mason out in front, Mitch Green following him, and it's a 4-car train here for 6th place. Broomhead, Nakata, Haynes and Pagadala up 3, 5, 3 and 4 positions respectively.
I gotta be honest, I never expected to see 4 wide, let alone 5 wide going down before turn 1. Absolutely insane sets of bravery or foolishness. Certainly, I'm going to say bravery on this occasion because they all actually got through it. Absolutely mind-blowing. I believe there's been an incident for Mailman and Phil Nails. I got a little bit of a warning for them. Mailman is driving slowly, but we're going to keep focusing up on the lead at about the Hyperion drivers. I've got to say, beautifully matched paints and indeed apparel as well. I've got to say, definitely a little bit of a shout out for that. Looking very snazzy there, but right now, these two drivers currently looking to make their way through the grid, resting in 13th and 10th, respectively.
Okay, so the race has gotten into a good rhythm. Clay Morris, unfortunately, it seems has had some problems. Caden Goodridge also with a spin. Looks like Clay falling down the order. Same for Andrew Hardman as well. Man, what a horrible night it has been for Hardman. Started on the front row for race 1, and now he's struggling to get into the top 20 in race 2. Shane Larson, meanwhile, 10th place for him. Still in the same position he started, but not for long. Joey Haynes with a half spin there through Sunset Bend. Haynes will fall back into 11th.
Well, definitely got to try and get a little bit of heat in them tyres before you start pushing. But right now, Nelson Mason leading the charge. He's about 6-7 tenths away from Mitch Green, and we've seen that's exactly what George Griffiths did at the start. Griffiths actually resting back in 16th place right now, down 1 from where he started. But Aussie Milwayne, he's currently the hard charger, up 10 positions. Actually, Caden Goodrich, despite having a little bit of difficulties, he's also up 9 positions there in 18th.
I've just gone back to have a look at what happened to Clay Morris, and it seems like he spent the majority of the last lap with no rear wing. It seems like he was involved in a bit of a concertina coming out of turn 5. Problems for the number 15 of Tyler Scarali sent he and Willie Brennan back into Clay Morris, and then Morris got hit from behind by George Griffiths. So that's pretty big, actually. Griffiths was involved in that little crash coming out of turn 5. We didn't quite get it on the broadcast cameras, but Griffiths doesn't have half of his front wing at the moment. His pace is compromised.
Well, certainly he's going to have to try and hold on until that pit window opens, ladies and gentlemen, and certainly, you know what, it does become a question of can he manage it, and what effect is that broken wing going to have on the tyres as well. You can see right behind him is Robert Covey and Caden Goodrich, so certainly those two drivers will be very keen to get by, but the field for the most part still very much close together. Just a couple of people falling off the back end of the field right now, but right now Nelson Mason looking to try and extend that gap in the lead. He's currently got a 7 tenths, not been able to pull away any further. Then you got Mitch Green, a little bit of a gap back to the 3rd place driver, who is Kostek Solish. He's there in the 64 car with Ben Colley breathing exactly down his tailpipe.
Oh, here we go. Oh, Griffiths trying his best to hold on to the spot here. Scott Barton's had a problem. He's falling down the order. I think these guys are going to come up on him very shortly. And, oh no, Barton's just gone off the circuit. He's towed back to pit lane, so that's going to end that for now. Back up to Ben Colley and Kostek Solivi. Here they come through the Fangio chicane. It's not really a chicane anymore. It used to be. Ben Colley holding on to some good pace for the time being, running a tenth of a second faster than Kostek on the previous lap. So still in contention for the podium. Don't forget though, Ben is one of the drivers who started on the softer tyre, so his pace is going to be compromised in the next few laps.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to make the most of those soft tyres while he's got them. But another interesting point to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if you look back at P5 and P6, now we've really seen these two guys battle so far, and ladies and gentlemen, guess what? It is indeed Asad Nikarnov and Ian Pagadala, the 230 versus the 19. And what's interesting is these guys are on different tyre strategies this time around. Nikarnov gone for the red tyre, the alternate tyre, the softer tyre, ladies and gentlemen, and Pagadala currently resting about 1.1 seconds back. Hasn't quite got the same amount of pace there, but there really isn't a lot in it. There's about a tenth of the difference in pace. So I do wonder, can Pagadala stay with Nikarnov, save a little bit of fuel, save a little bit of tyres, and potentially slingshot him in the pits, as we see George Griffiths there currently under fire from some more drivers.
Yeah, Griffiths is having to commit here. Don't forget, he started on those soft tyres, so I think he's just trying to ride them out here, take advantage of the grip. Not that he's entirely able to. Compromise downforce side by side ahead of him. Meanwhile, Parada versus Goodridge there, and a little bit of a technical issue there for Caden and Goodridge. Griffiths is going to take advantage here, potentially exit of turn 5. Can he use the push to pass to get this done is the question. Well, it doesn't exactly fill me or potentially George with confidence when a car is blinking in front of you. And they got to keep an eye out for Covey, Hardman and O'Hyan behind them as well. This is not the position that our race 1 winner and pole sitter would want.
Well, certainly not. You know, it's definitely, he's up against it right now, but all he can do is hold on, because if he comes from pits early, it's going to put him completely out of sync. He will have to make another pit stop. He just needs to be able to limp that car to the pit window and then start on the recovery drive from there. But I believe Nikarnov has actually caught up to 4th position of Ben Coley. Both of those guys on the softer tyre, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see there, Ian Pagadala dropped back to about 1.6 seconds, but Nikarnov, he just set the fastest lap a few moments ago, ladies and gentlemen. If he wants to try and keep going and keep pulling away from Pagadala, he's going to need to get around the 705 machine pretty promptly.
Oh, unfortunately, they just come together in Sunset Bend, and Coley has been sent into the wall. Oh no, that's not ideal. Ben Coley with his front end gone. It looks like Nikarnov was trying to hold things on into the corner, trying to make the pass, but a bit of understeer on his way in, and made contact with Coley. So Ben's going to have to go straight to the pits from there. That is disastrous for Ben, not his fault at all.
Definitely unfortunate. You see there now, Nikarnov is running the compromise ring, and that's good news for Ian Pagadala. He's been able to sneak by into 4th place, and I've got to be honest, I don't know how long Nikarnov is going to be able to run the car like that. No meatball flag as it stands right now. Ben Coley, he wasn't as lucky. He did get one, and actually I see there Richard Jane, he's just cleared a meatball flag as well. Something that's happened to Andrew Hardman as well. I understand he's just been in an incident as well.
Yeah, dear. It's not ideal at all. Well, here's what happened to Ben Coley and Asad Nikarnov. So exit out of Le Mans and into Sunset Bend. There you go. Nikarnov trying to go for the maneuver, but a little bit too hard into the corner, and the tyres were scrubbing. Coley did leave some space, but Nikarnov went into his right rear quarter. And, well, he'll have to make a recovery somehow. Fortunately, fast repair active in these sessions, so Coley's car is completely repaired, but he has lost out quite a bit. Here's Aussie Milway now, getting past Nikarnov, who is now aerodynamically compromised thanks to that contact.
Well, certainly, it's good news for Will Wayne. He's looking to make a recovery. He's currently the hard charger in the field, up 16 positions. Certainly, race 1 did not go well, and I have a feeling he will be getting investigated by the stewards after that race with that contact with Mailman there. Certainly nothing, you know, we do understand the red mist, certainly myself of all people, but, you know what, if we find, you know, there is an incident there will be repercussions, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly not what we want to see, especially from a previous champion as well. Certainly, you know, he does indeed know better as a number 14 driver, but right now he's having a good race, chasing down the number 31 of Shane Larson.
Yeah, all right, here we go then. Larson, at the moment, in the midst of this top 5 fight. Milwane almost cleaning up the rear of him coming into the hairpin. And seems like he had to compromise himself through the middle of the corner as well. Larson looking for a better result this time. Remember, he qualified 4th for race 1. He got sent back and had to recover all the way up to 6th. Now he's holding on to this top 5 position. Is there anything he can do to make some ground here? He started on the harder compound, as have our entire top 5. Milwane currently the leader of the cars that started on the alternate tyres, the softer red-walled compound there. And I mean, we're a fair way into this race, actually. 6 laps, and that's around about the point, I think, where the soft tyres start to reach their apex, and they'll start to fall off after this. So if Milwane wants to make the moves, he'll have to do it now. Defensive from Shane Larson coming into Sunset Bend. That's a good line. But will he compromise himself on the exit? Trying to cut under as Milwane gets the exit. Oh, just brushing the barrier is Shane Larson there. But the speed is with the number 14 of Aussie Milwane, and he's going to go up the inside coming into turn 1.
Well, definitely that little bit of a brush there may be exactly what Milwane needed, and his next target is going to be the number 19 car of Ian Pagadali. You see there, Larson closing up as we see one of the Lima Racing cars taking a little bit of a scenic detour off through there. That was Matthew Mailman. I do understand he's got a meatball flag as well, but as we continue here with Aussie Milwane, you see actually Mitch Green there making an attack on the race leader potentially. That gap coming down to as low as 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, Mitch Green is actually on a bit of a blinder at the moment. 1:42.0 on the previous lap. That's 0.3 quicker than Nelson Mason. So looks like Nelson, he's been managing this race well from the front for now, but the pace is starting to turn into the favour of Mitch Green. They're going to have 11 laps remaining when they cross the line next. Once again, we're getting to about the point where drivers will think about pitting. Obviously, the soft tyre runners will be pitting first, and we've already had Bev come into the lane and switch to the primaries, of course, getting some damage repaired as well. Can't forget that. But these guys will be able to go a few more laps. For now, it looks like Mitch Green has been looking after those tyres a little better than Nelson Mason. I mean, the primaries are a harder compound. They can last longer, but you still got to manage their heat and you've got to manage their grip all the way through a stint. And Green is putting the pressure on nicely.
Absolutely, certainly we've seen the top spot can indeed have some benefits. You're able to really focus about a line ahead rather than the traffic behind, but right now that is not a luxury that the 49 car is going to be blessed with. Mitch Green in the number 7 car definitely applying a good amount of pressure. That gap under 0.3 of a second at times. I saw it as low as 0.2 of a second, ladies and gentlemen, in that Fury livery machine. Certainly he's going to have to apply the Fury, albeit in a controlled sense, if he want to make his way up to P1. If I have a look at the push to pass statistics right now, not a lot between them. Certainly 147, 167, very similar amount of reserves remaining, and they get it done. And if I'm not mistaken as well, I believe Mitch Green may have a teammate behind in 3rd place.
Yeah, Kostek Solovi in 3rd there. So 2 cars on the podium for the Fury team. It's going to be very interesting indeed. We've had our first caller to pit lane on a scheduled stop. Meanwhile, Eric Fenson bringing the number 76 into the lane, and he is now on the primary tyres. He's come out just ahead of Bev here, and oh no, oh, that's cold tyres there for the Australian. Eric Fenson, part of Fenson Brothers Racing, will unfortunately have to yield that one to Assad, and hopefully he'll be able to get those tyres up to temperature quickly, because otherwise he will just be bleeding time. Oh well, back up to the battles in the top 10. We have 3 fights in the top 10 for now. It's the one for the lead between Mason and Green. Then we have that 3-way battle for 4th between Pagadala, Milwane and Larson. And then Caden Goodridge and Christian Gritzko are fighting for 9th spot. The only other fight on track at the moment, within a second, is Willie Brennan versus Cedric O'Hyan. And it looks like Aussie Milwane is our next taker to pit lane. So the soft tyre runners are now deciding it's time to switch to the hards.
Well, certainly it seems that the softer tyres have indeed hit that magical moment. Certainly halfway through the race, I'd say they've lasted incredibly well. A little bit longer than I would have expected, but right now the battles do continue, and I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out now. Right now it's Caden Goodrich, because they're currently up 20 positions, but yet to grace the pit lane as we see Mauricio Parada. He's there in the pits, hopefully having a good recovery drive after that unfortunate incident in race 1.
Yeah, indeed. Parada making some good gains up the field. Even though he is losing out, he's still at present up 10 places from where he started this race. And now he can just manage those hard tyres to the end if his internet will stay with him. And now we wait for Robert Covey to be the next driver to come in. He's on the softs. He's put 8 laps on those already in 9th place. And I think he'll be looking to pit potentially at the end of this lap, unless he wants to try something insane and try and make those soft tyres last most of the race. I don't see why you would, though, because a short stint on hards is hardly, pardon the pun, a good strategy.
Definitely would not be optimal, but what does appear to be optimal for the Fury guys is that Mitch Green has made his way into P1. Now, I do wonder, can they get a little bit of team tactics going? Can you almost do a Carlos Sainz level of maneuver? And can Mitch Green potentially back up Nelson Mason into his teammate a little bit more, maybe the 64 car? Don't get me wrong, it's a risky strategy, but certainly one that could indeed pay off. You know, Mitch Green leading the race, he can very much control the pace, and certainly I do have to think as well, if these guys are in chat, they want to really communicate and try and schedule their pit stops together even to make sure they come out and they can work together to potentially take home a 1-2, even a 1-3 on the podium.
Yeah, for sure. That would be quite the interesting call there. Covey has just come into the lane, so that's the last of our soft tyre starters now taking those tyres off. And the crossover period is now. We're past the halfway point. It's on between Pagadala and Larson. 2 hard tyre runners at the moment. And it's nicely defended from Ariane, but Larson trying that undercut at the very same corner where Nelson Mason lost the lead versus Mitch Green. But they are racing incredibly hard at the moment. They still got 8 laps remaining in this race though.
You can see that Ian Pagadala very much aware of the space available and absolutely giving them the squeeze there. As you see on the inside goes Shane Larson. Incredibly close. Pagadala, contact. A little bit of a nudge there, and I believe that was a little bit of a wing just shot off on the exit there. And ladies and gentlemen, Shane Larson now missing the left front wing. There seems to be a bit of a pattern here this evening at Sebring. Nobody lost a full wing except for one driver in race 1. Generally, these guys having a more of a step-up experience.
Yeah, the problem there for Pagadala was he was trying to get back onto the racetrack. Nelson Mason in the lane, by the way. So we'll see how he responds to Green and Solovey there. But just analysing that incident for a second, Larson made a great move at Jean de Bienne and pushed Pagadala wide. Ariane got off the racetrack and he was trying to get back on in the middle of the left-hander, and that's ultimately what tipped Shane Larson around. So maybe that's something else for the stewards to take a look at, depending on, you know, the nature of the contact there and the way that he came back onto the racetrack. But still, Pagadala's responded, and so has Larson, by coming into the lane, and they both put the soft tyres on. The switch has been made. So for now, we have Green, Solovey, Haynes, Gritsko, and Swindells yet to come into the pits.
It'd be nice if we could actually get a little bit of screen time on Swindells. Don't get me wrong, it's great that Pit Road Productions has got a car in the race, albeit Swindells, like, oh mate, he's yet to make a run. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll just take this brief, slightly biased opinion to take a little bit of a view of the Pit Road Productions driver. And you can see they're absolutely rocking the merch. I'll be honest, he 3D printed it himself, but I'm completely down for that. Looking old season, very much concentrating right now, and he's going to roast me for this afterwards. But certainly, you know what, he's doing well. The IndyCar definitely been a very, very fast car, very potent machine, but he's going to be wanting to bring that down pit lane pretty soon.
Yeah, Swindells does enjoy his IndyCar racing, and he's mighty quick. The Fury cars have come into the lane, though. Mitch Green and Kostek Solovic have found their way into the lane. They will find their way onto the soft tyres as well. I would expect that Swindells might follow them in. Haynes comes in behind our top two. I'd expect Gritsko to come in as well, and then the field shall be cleansed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's definitely one of the joys here at the BiS Indycar Championship. Thank you very much again to Doppler for helping us put this on. But you see there, that looks like Swindells taking a very close line. I'm going to say, yep, I think he might be right. Oh, he did go in, didn't he?
Oh God, no!
He planned it.
This has been terrible. No, it's big contact. This we're going to need a replay for this actually, because Nelson Mason, who was trying to keep up with the Fury guys as they came into the pits, actually lost the rear end through Sunset Bend. Then Swindells came through, and he was trying to get into pit lane. Keep an eye on this. So Mason goes for that half spin. He's on the inside. There's Swindells coming through. He wants to try and get to pit lane, but Mason is there, and that's a crash on pit entry for Swindells.
I mean, I get it, don't get wrong. I mean, he ran out of fuel at that point, but, you know, what do you do there? You're kind of not expecting a car to be there, but definitely unlucky by Mason. I do wonder, you know, like in this incident, like, I mean, what are you to do? Like, Swindells already there. He's got to get to the pits, and he just tries to hook it across. I think, you know, Mason's maybe stopped, but definitely unfortunate. I thought for a second he'd planted it on this concrete wall between the pit and the racing surface.
Yeah, but ultimately an unfortunate coming together between Nelson Mason and Richard Swindells. So our race 2 pole sitter is now out. That's a huge shame. Swindells fortunately has been able to get repairs done, and he's back out there, albeit in 20th spot. So it's going to be hard for him to make any further recoveries from here with 6 laps remaining for our leaders. Mitch Green and Kostek Solovic have been putting on a fantastic drive. Griffiths here has finished his stint, his hard slog with a damaged car on softs. He's now got the hards on, and he is looking at 11th spot here. He's got Scarelli and Parada up ahead of them. I don't know how far away a top 10 will be, but he'll certainly grab 12th there in style. And Griffiths could get 11th spot here on the exit. Just needs to position his car well on the push to pass, carrying the momentum. And through we go into turn 1, bit of contact, and that sends Scarelli way wide, keeps it out of the wall, fortunately. That's fantastic stuff. Probably not for Scarelli, though. That was a brown pants moment, I'd gather. But regardless, that's George Griffiths back up into 11th, and he needs to make up 3 more seconds to get back into the top 10.
I was going to say the marshals on turn 1 may indeed need to be resuscitated after seeing Scarelli get so incredibly close. I thought it was all going to be over for the Britannia iSports car. We're taking a look at the onboard shot now. Scarelli absolutely incredibly close to the wall. We're going to find out just how close. Definitely, don't get me wrong, I don't think it was intentional, but look.
Oh, God. That's a tyre width.
Yeah, about not even that. I'd say maybe a foot.
That's crazy.
That's skill. That's what that is. That's skill.
Yeah. Good choice of camera angle from Christian Hill, our producer. Fantastic job there. Well, Scarelli, fortunately, has kept it out of that wall, and he's lucky 13th. Could still find his way back past Parada. Still positions on the cards here. Speaking of positions on the cards, that's Aussie Milwain finding his way past Ariane Pagadala. And Ariane is on the soft tyres, don't forget. Milwain started on the softs, so this is soft versus hard tyre, but late on in the race. Pagadala trying up the inside of turn 1. Has that taken the front wing off? Contact between Milwain and Ariane. It looks like Ariane might have escaped damage there, but still, that's not ideal.
Yeah, I definitely saw a little bit of debris flying across the track. I'm not quite entirely sure which car it came off, but certainly right now, if I'm understanding this correctly, Shane Larson's in third, Pagadala's about a second back, Aussie Milwain's hot in pursuit as well, so Larson's going to really need to hold on, and don't get me wrong, he's got the softer tyres. He should be able to really, you know, capitalize on that, but Pagadala has been incredibly potent here tonight. Actually, in this race, so has Aussie Milwain. He's up 17 spots. Second place for the hard charger. Actually, the hard charger right now is actually Caden Goodrich, who's there at 9th, up 18 spots, but Milwain looking to make a comeback.
Yeah, well, this is going to be very interesting for Aussie Milwayne. Finding his way potentially into the top 4. Don't forget they've got Shane Larson up ahead of them as well. And Larson, he's looking a bit slower on this lap. He was setting some good times, and he currently has the fastest lap of the entire race as Shane Larson. But it seems like those softs are already starting to fall off for him. Another three-way battle for the podium as our top 2 of Mitch Green and Kostek Solovey, that's how you pronounce his last name, I've just been informed, continue to work their way through these last 3 laps. The Fury Simsport black cars here up the front have been playing this race perfectly.
Well, certainly it actually looks like it's quite tight across almost the whole, I'd say about top 9. There's a little bit of a gap between Milwayne and Haynes, but Nicardenberg applying pressure to Haynes, and he's got Eric Benson right behind him as well. So certainly some interesting battles going on indeed. But right now, actually, you know what? These 2 teammates, I don't think they're going to battle. I think they're going to very much be looking to just bring it home with 3 laps to go. That's exactly what I would be doing. Keep everything in check, keep it going, and certainly count your lucky stars. Up 1 position, up 3 possessions. They've had a good race. They've made a lot of use of the invert, and they've got a 9.5 second gap to 3rd place. They just need to bring it home at this point.
Yeah, no. Just keep it clean. That's all you need to work out. Oh, look, I saw Goodridge and Gritsko changing spots on the timesheet for just a second there, but it looks like Goodridge might have had some tech issues there. So leave that for later. For now, keep our eyes on the podium battle. Shane Larson for Hyperion Racing, Ariane Pagadala in the midst of all of this, and Aussie Milwayne chasing down the both of them, but Milwayne is the one with the tyre disadvantage here. He is on the primaries. Both Larson and Pagadala are on the softs. And don't forget that incredible run that Pagadala had in race 1. He's still had a fantastic run up through the field in this one, up 9 spots. But his pace has stalled out a little bit here up the front. Can he find his way past Larson is the question.
You got to weigh up the risk versus reward. It certainly is himself and Larson on a similar set of tyres. He's also got Wanda as well.
The lead's changed. Solovey's got past Green.
Ooh.
Okay, that's interesting.
These guys are racing. Maybe they are racing, but we'll keep an eye on that, certainly. But, you know, they've got plenty of time between themselves and Larson. I don't think there's any bonus point for leading a lap, and if they are, maybe these guys have really read the rules, certainly more than I have, and, you know, looking to try and capitalize on that, keep these 2 drivers balanced in the standings. We have a quick look here at the replay as they're heading down towards turn 1.
Push to pass, it looks like. Kostek Solovey there going for the move, and looks like Mitch Green was anticipating it. So these 2 certainly aren't afraid to race each other here at the first race of the season. No team orders at Fury, it seems. And with 2 laps remaining, time is running out for Mitch Green to respond to his teammate as Larson defends from Pagadala and Milwayne gets backed into.
Well, honestly, if the front wings of these cars were my teeth, I'd definitely be needing some dentures at this point. Everybody in the field seems to be getting a little bit of a right hook at the minute. Certainly, you know, Milwayne's had it a couple of times. Pagadala's had it. Griffiths has had it. Everybody finding these front wings are more of a disposable item right now. But Larson's been able to recover and take that position back. He's dropped further back between P1 and P2. But let's be realistic, ladies and gentlemen, with 2 laps to go, if he can catch up 11 seconds, I would be mightily impressed. Certainly, I think anybody in the world would. But right now, Pagadala looking to try and capitalize on that. Milwayne, you got to wonder, he's up 17 spots. How hard is he going to fight to try and get himself back on the podium?
Well, he can only do so much with those primary compound tyres on his car versus Larson and Pagadala, who are still have plenty of grip on those alternates. And leaders have still been battling in the midst of all this. I've been keeping an eye on Solovey and Green, and Mitch almost attempted a move at Sunset Bend on the previous lap. So I think what the Fury guys are thinking is, we've got 10 seconds to this battle here behind us. We can afford to race each other a little bit towards the end, try and sort this one out between ourselves. So I guess that's exactly the approach that they're taking. Meanwhile, Pagadala still trying to build up some momentum for a run here on Larson.
As we have a look, you know, there's certainly some battles going on. It looks like Eric Fenson, he had a little bit of an incident that dropped him back. I think it was an off track, pushed him back behind Assad Nakhanov a little bit further. But right now, he's got a real life racing driver behind him. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember if it's a Radical or if it's indeed an LMP2, maybe an LMP3, but certainly Caden Goodrich, certainly still very much active in the real world with a professional racing contract, I guess. And he's currently right now applying pressure there to the 76 of Eric Fenson. But right now, is he going to be able to get it done? But we are watching the battle between the two Fury drivers as yet again, these guys are going at it as they're heading down towards sunset.
Oh, space given though.
But now, I was wondering.
yeah. I mean, it's looked borderline occasionally as the last lap begins here, and Soloviev tries to take the lead back from Green here. Easy through turn one. I mean, this is hard racing, but it's also respectful as well. These guys both realize they're competing for the same team, and they want to get the best result for the team. They can race, but they have to keep it clean, and they're giving us a show while they're at it. Push to pass for Mitch Green, trying around the outside of the hairpin. Soloviev defends very nicely. It's all about who gets on the power better here, and it is Green who gets on the power the best. But again, Soloviev is playing the defensive game well. Green is ahead into the braking zone. Soloviev responds nicely up the inside at the Cunningham corner, and a little bit of a slide there from Kostek. Might have been some slight netcode contact there, depending on connections. Soloviev, of course, racing from Poland. Mitch Green, for the moment, keeps the lead. And now it's down to the run down the Ulman Straight.
Well, incredible close battle in between these two gentlemen. Certainly, it has indeed been gentlemen watching these two guys, duke it out with the same team. And certainly, no papaya rules for these guys. It's very much a go, baby, go, and definitely the kind of racing action we like to see. But you got to wonder, is Kostek going to try and make one more move as he go into sunset? Yes, he's put his nose up on the inside. Is he going to be able to get it done? It looks like Mitch Green's going to have the longer line, but is he going to get the better exit speed?
Oh, drag race!
Across the line, side by side, ladies and gentlemen, I think Mitch Green's going to get it at the line. Absolutely incredible. And if I look at the gap, just 38 thousandths of a second between them.
Photo finish for Fury Simsport. That was a masterclass from the team. Joey Haynes not able to find his way past Ozzy Milwane to get into the top 5. And Assad Nakhanov, it looks like, is out of fuel. Oh no, he didn't put enough in at the stop.
Oh dear, I can remember a certain broadcast we had a special trophy for that, ladies and gentlemen, and it's fair to say that he would have just got one, but is he going to be able to limp it to the end? Certainly nobody's going to be willing to give him a push in this scenario. This is easy points for the picking. I do wonder if he'd be better off to stop and tow as quickly as he can. He may actually work out better with the race standings as he literally pushing, breathing, chugging that car along, and look at him, he's trying everything he can in the 230 machine. Try and lift that car there, absolutely plummeting down through the orders. Richard Swindell says, thank you very much. Even Phil Nels is getting in on the action, ladies and gentlemen. Cedric O'Hyan, he's about 10 seconds back. I think Nakhanov is going to have to admit defeat on this one as they're getting closer and closer. Phil Nels. Sorry, Cedric, where's Phil Nels gone? Phil Nels has already passed him. Yeah, it's Tyler Scarelli is going to be the next on the list. He's about 5 seconds back. And I think Nakhanov is going to... Poor fella.
Yeah, it's
he's still moving though.
Yeah, it's a long run to the start-finish line. Get on. I was about to say get on the starter motor, but these cars don't have starter motors, and there's just a tiny little uphill there coming out of the final corner. I think Assad Nakhanov is done. It's such a shame. Well, slight error on the strategy, but that will be that, and I think that's going to be the race gone official there just about. Nakhanov will have to escape back to the pits for the race to officially be called here, but yeah, there we go. Things have worked out. So we can go through our results finally after a scintillating opening round of the Doppler BiS Indycar Championship. Mitch Green and Kostek Soloviev have managed to grab their 1-2 finish for Fury Sim Sports. Beautiful stuff from them. Shane Larson gets Hyperion Racing onto the podium with Ariane Pagadala in fourth. Excellent night for Ariane. Aussie Milwane had to start in 22nd place, finds his way up to fifth, with Joey Haynes in sixth, and Caden Goodridge from 27th to 7th. Great run from him. Bit of an up and down night. Eric Fenson down an 8th spot, finishes ahead of Christian Gritzko and George Griffiths to round out the top 10.
As we have a look at P11, Mauricio Parada, certainly a very potent driver indeed on their debut, but only able to get 11th in the second race here this evening, with Robert Covey in 12th. Andrew Harvin, certainly an unlucky night for him in 13th. With Richard Swindell's misrepresented there, who actually represents Pit Road Productions now, especially if he does well, in 14th, with Phil Nels in 15th. Tyler Scarelli took 16th, with Willie Brennan. He dropped down a little bit there in 17th, but Sadna Karlovev certainly needed a little bit more gas at the end there in 18th, with Cedric O'Hine in 19th, and league admin Michael Broomhead. I do think he got wrapped up in an incident earlier on in 20th.
21st place, a lap down. Rishabh Jain, unfortunately, not able to make much from that 20th place start. Ben Colley and Nelson Mason, 4th and 1st, respectively, on the grid for race 2. Both suffered incredible issues. Colley sent into the wall by Sadna Kardam-Bev, and then Nelson Mason contacting Richard Swindells as Swindells made his way into the lane. Mileman finishes where he started in 24th, 7 laps down. Tory Pushman wasn't able to make it to 9 laps from the end, and retirements for Scott Bartin, Harland Goulbourne, and Clay Morris. It's some difficult runnings for drivers that we expected to be quick in this opening round of the season, but Zippy, looks like we are about ready to have a chat with our podium. And first off, you've got Mitch Green.
Well, I've got to say, Mitch, a huge welcome to you joining the BiS Indycar Championship. Certainly, first time I think I've seen you here in one of the BiS series, and a huge warm hello and welcome. And what a way to start the season with a P1. And not only that, we
keep it clean the first race. I obviously know the feature reverses the grid, so wanted to keep that in mind. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Got tangled up, but I was able to fight back to 14th first race, which put me on the front row for the second race and set things up nicely for the win.
Well, definitely an absolutely incredible drive. Certainly, you know what? It is one of those things. It's definitely been a spicy evening here at Sebring. But I got to ask, was there any team orders between yourself and the 64?
So we wanted to ensure the gap at least. So we said last 3 laps we can have at it, and he wasted no time. He threw it right down the inside of T1. So.
Oh, absolutely fantastic night for you. But Mitch, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, happy birthday, Jim. I love you, buddy. Thanks, guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was your P1 winner for the main feature race. That was Mitch Green. And I understand, Reese, you've been able to catch up with our second place finisher.
Yes, Kostek Solivier has joined us, second place on the road for you, Kostek, and up from 5th place. A great run in this second race. Looked like a very enjoyable battle with Mitch for the win there.
Yep. I think it's a great team result, honestly. Very, very happy from the what happened in the second race. The first race is something that I wish would never happen. I mean, it was challenging. Everything today was challenging. The track was challenging. The tires, the conditions also. Say that the alternate tires were dying after 3 laps. I mean, yeah, it was a hard race, but I'm happy with the finishing of it.
Yeah, indeed. Good result to come out of the first round of the season. Next up, we go to Long Beach. And, well, if we thought Sebring was brutal, Long Beach is going to be even worse. Very tight street circuit. You're going to have to be managing the car all the way through and just hoping that everyone else keeps it clean around you. So are you looking forward to that?
Mountains are meant to be climbed, you know. I mean, I gotta face it.
Absolutely. Well, It's a good run from you at the first round of the season, Kostek. Congratulations. You're certainly looking pacey and can definitely compete for wins in this championship. So best of luck to you. Is there anyone that you wanted to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Mitch, the my team. I hope for more results like that from my team and from Mitch. It was a great run.
Yeah, certainly was. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Kostek, and hopefully we can chat to you next round.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Kostek Soloviev there from Fury. And finally, we got a representative from Hyperion in the booth with us. Zippy, you're stood by with Shane Larson.
Well, I've got to say, Shane, certainly race 2 definitely did go a lot better for you. But tell us a little bit about Hyperion. I've got to say, was checking out your teammate actually representing the apparel as well. Tell us a little bit about your team and if there was any team tactics involved coming into this first round at Sebring.
Team tactics, not so much. But yeah, we're both happy to be here. Both happy to represent Hyperion and bring ourselves to this awesome league so far. Yeah, we're super excited to be here.
Well, we're super excited to have you, and certainly with a result like that, it's definitely gone very well in your favor this evening. Certainly a nice podium is a very good way to start, but we're heading over to Long Beach for the next round. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a mix-up there. We've gone from the beautiful sunny plains of Sebring, albeit with a bit of concrete, to a street circuit, a lot less forgiving. Tell us a little bit about how you're going to prepare for that, and Hyperion as well.
Prep's starting tonight. Long Beach, far and ahead, my favorite track, and yeah, I will be there for sure. Race 2 is gonna be a little sketch with the reverse grid, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna kick off in between the concrete.
Well, certainly, it's going to be one that's going to be worth watching by all means, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, you saw how busy, how crazy it was. We even saw 5 wide at the start of race 2, ladies and gentlemen. But Shane, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, again, my team Hyperion, they're growing, doing great. Again, super excited to be here. Thanks for all the help everyone does behind the scenes, and then also just want to shout out to my dad. Me and him love IndyCar, so to be racing this, and it's kind of cool. So yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Shane Larson. He was your third place finisher. An absolutely phenomenal job done by him. Up 7 positions, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, as I'm having a quick look, one of the shortest pit stops as well, with a 6.9 second in and out of the box. But I think that's just about going to do it here from us. Reese, any closing thoughts on round 1 of the BiS Indycar Championship?
Well, I think it's a fairly typical round 1 for the first initial running of a new season of a powerful open wheel series. There's a lot of drivers who won't be getting the results that they wanted out of this first round, but there's plenty of opportunities throughout the season to get those results back. And I think if you can keep it clean at Long Beach on the 9th of April, then I think you're going to set yourself up for a good season.
Very much so. I have a feeling that a few of the drivers maybe a little bit hot under the collar. Certainly the stewards are going to be busy, and I've got a feeling I may end up getting dragged into that one there. And don't get me wrong, for Richard Swindells, for example, where he's Pit Road Productions, I will abstain from any input on that one, just in the clarity side, I guess. What's the word I'm looking for here, is, the honesty, the
neutrality,
I guess. Yes, that one, ladies and gentlemen. And on a very neutral note, I guess, we should probably bring this show to a close. Certainly Long Beach will be an absolute belter, but if you want to see that, you're going to have to wait until we actually show it in about 2 weeks' time, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, huge thank you as well to our sponsor, Doppler, again, for making it happen. Certainly some interesting stuff happening in the tech side of the world. And definitely an absolute belter of a show. Certainly 5 wide, not something I was expecting here at Sebring. And surprisingly, they all made it through. But you know what? I think that's just about it from us here today. Catch us in about 2 weeks' time, ladies and gentlemen, 9th of April for Long Beach at 8:30 Eastern. It'll be myself and Reese Gardner, and again, Christian Hill at the controls. But for ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Good night.